Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the latest on a proposed new copper mine on land considered sacred by Arizona indigenous communities. Also tonight, details on a new pipeline that will send more natural gas to Arizona. And we'll hear about a Phoenix cafe that combines coffee and the chance to adopt a cat. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A federal appeals court last week blocked a proposed land swap that would allow the construction of a massive copper mine at Oak Flat, a site that's considered sacred by Arizona tribes. The temporary block came just hours before the land swap would have been completed. Deborah Kroll is the Indigenous Affairs reporter for the Arizona Republic, and she's been covering this story and how. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on,
All right.
Ted.
So the appeals court temporarily, they took this down to the last minute, didn't they?
It was literally hours before they were going to ink the deal in D.C. Just hours.
Okay, so what exactly, and we should say hours because there was, what, a 60-day review period?
The 60-day review period started on June 20th after the environmental impact statement had been reissued by the Forest Service. There were two lawsuits pending that had been waiting for that new environmental impact statement to be filed. So they revived their lawsuits. The federal court here said, we'll give you the full 60 days to get your lawsuits back in and get it heard. It was heard on August the 6th. Coalition of Environmentalists and Tribes and the San Carlos Apache Tribe, the court ruled against them on August the 15th. They did a weekend appeal to the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit gave them a temporary halt so they could go through with their appeal.
So as usual, when you have a 60-day deadline, everything happens on day 59.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, this land swap, it's all important to this copper mine project. Talk to us about that.
Resolution Copper, division of Rio Tinto and BHP, has been wanting to build a giant copper mine there at Oak Flat for, I would say, 25 years. Every year they went to Congress. Congress turned them down. Finally, they went to Senator McCain and a couple of other congressional representatives, and they did a very late last-minute rider to a must-pass defense bill. And of course, those things have to pass, they have to be signed. Even Donald Trump can't get around them. So Obama signed it, and the tribe has been fighting resolution ever since.
Where is Oak Flat?
About 60 miles east of Phoenix. It's in the Pinal Mountains. It's currently in Tonto National Forest. It's about a 2,200-acre campground, riparian zone, rock formations.
Yeah, and right now that's basically what's there. Has there been any preparation of the land for the copper mine? Anything going on so far?
Well, we know that Resolution has been dewatering because there's a lot of groundwater underneath. The last person to rehab the mine, which, as you know, overlooks where Oak Flat is, said that there's a humongous amount of water under there. So they've been dewatering preparatory to getting permission to start the mine process. And they've already dug the 7,000-foot tunnel, and they're going to tunnel underneath the ore body, and they're going to start collapsing the ore body upon itself. That's where the conflict comes in, because eventually Oak Flat will turn into a giant crater and will no longer be passable or usable by people.
And we'll know, it probably still will be considered sacred, though, by American Indian tribes. Talk to us about why this particular land is considered sacred. And I want to get back to the idea that being in Tonto National Forest, because you don't often see national forests being used for ground zero of copper mining. But before we get there, talk about the sacred nature of the land.
Oak Flat is considered sacred to several bands of Apache peoples, and very culturally important to some other peoples, including the Yavapais, to a lesser extent the Otham peoples, and it is considered to be the home, one of the principal homes of the mountain spirits known as Gon. And so these religions are land-based religions. And if the piece of land or the rock formation or the sacred grove or the mountain goes away, that spirituality goes away.
Oh, interesting.
And that's what they're fighting.
Okay, and again, the Tonto National Forest, the federal nature here, that's what McCain, that's what that was all about.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a land exchange.
Yes.
Resolution bought up a bunch of parcels of other environmentally sensitive land, which it intends to swap to the Forest Service for Oak Flat.
Where is that other land?
It's scattered throughout the
Okay.
state. Some of it's like down around San Pedro, and some of it's a little bit farther up north. But it's to close private land gaps within public lands.
What was the reasoning behind the Ninth Circuit basically putting this stop on for now?
The courts are very sensitive to allowing people their day in court, whether or not they rule for them or against them. It's like they want them to have their day in court. If in the latest appeal they did specifically mention they're not adjudicating the merits of the case right now. They're just giving them an opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's basically what they're saying is like more time for more what we have to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is the copper company handling this?
I think they're taking a deep breath. They're just kind of moving forward with whatever plans that they can do since they don't have the land. I have been out to see some of the Emery Oak restoration that they've been doing. They have hired a lot of Native people to be like cultural monitors. They've hired some other Apache people from another band to help out with some cultural stuff, and they're just. I believe what they told me last time was we're just keeping the lights on.
Yeah, but the restoration project, it is going on to a certain degree.
Yeah, there's some Emery Oak groves east of Oak Flat that they have been restoring. There's some other Emery Oak groves north of that site that they've been working on. Some up around Camp Verde too, in the mountains in there.
There have been it's been like 2 decades of legal battling. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, the original bill was floated, I believe, in 2004, and 10 years later they did the last minute writers. That's December 2014.
In your story, you interviewed people who say, in spite of everything else, yes, but this might not even be a viable mining operation.
That was Harry Winters. He's the last person to be in charge of rehabbing, the old Magna mine, which is what Resolution has right now. And it's a little plot of private land. And he says that if you go to the Forest Service and look at all the geology reports, that Resolution may not even be able to do it because that land might not subside upon itself, or some of the geology running a certain way, it might end up affecting Apache Leap, even though their studies say, no, it's not going to affect Apache Leap. We're going to be very careful.
Yeah, interesting. Last question real quickly. What's next in all this?
Well, there's a third lawsuit that got filed at the last minute by 4 Apache women, and they're using a recent Supreme Court decision, the Mahmoud decision, which says the parents have the absolute right to instruct their kids in the religious beliefs, and they say if Oak Flat goes away, they will not be able to fulfill their First Amendment right of instructing their kids. We're going to see what happens.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Deborah Cole employment plan.
It is.
It keeps you going, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, you're doing a great job on this. Thank you so
thank
much for
you.
sharing the information. It's good to have you here.
Well, it's good to be on again. Maybe someday we'll be able to say this is all over.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Deep in a tropical rainforest, there is a search for giants.
In the beginning, all you see are the shadows.
Western lowland gorillas, the stuff of legend, and rarely seen in the wild. Today, they've just welcomed a precious new addition to the group. Follow along for a rare look at life in this troop of forest giants.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
An engineering icon.
The Eiffel Tower stands today as a source of inspiration.
It launched the age of tall buildings.
It was the highest monument in the world.
From obstacles
Gustav Eiffel needs to do better, faster.
to innovations,
It's an act of pure audacity.
building the Eiffel Tower on Nova.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
A new pipeline is set to deliver natural gas to Arizona, specifically to the state's largest utilities, with the goal of meeting Arizona's ever-growing energy demands amid the state's ever-growing population. And to learn more, we welcome Danny Seiden, President and CEO of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Good to have you here. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Ted. Yeah, great. This is good news. It's good to share some good news with you right now about an exciting project that really helps us plan for the future with our economy and power.
So let's talk about this project. It's an interstate natural gas pipeline. Starts where, ends where?
Starts in West Texas, ends in Arizona, and it is about 500 miles. It's an expansion coming through New Mexico, and it it's about a $5.3 billion project. Thousands of construction employees, thousands of utility workers will get work out of this, and it will result in a significant new supply of natural gas into our state. Because we don't produce, we have to have our natural gas delivered.
And there are pipelines right now. What happens to those pipelines?
Listen, those pipelines are needed for where we're at right now. Natural gas powers about 46% of our households and businesses in Arizona. This new pipeline that's going to be right in about 4 years is just helping us meet the current demand we're at right now. So again,
Holy smoke.
Yeah, everything is going to be running. Yeah.
Now, I read 9 compressor stations will be in Arizona. Yeah. What is a compressor station?
Compressor station is how that gas is processed and then put into, kind of delivered around the state. So, our utilities are going to develop those. They're going to make sure those are, because what we pay for gas and everything else is really determined by the efficiency. So these compressor stations are necessary, they're important. And if I'm in a community, I'd be welcome to have one because I know that means I'm going to get cheap, reliable energy coming into my house.
I was going to ask you about that. How does this secure Arizona's energy future?
As I stated before, 46% of our state is powered by natural gas. So for us, with the growth that we've had, we're a top 5 growth area. For us to be able to point to this pipeline and say, this is how we're going to continue to meet our demand. And again, this is another one of the many solutions. We're in all of the above state. We're still doing solar, we're still doing wind, and we're especially still doing nuclear. So that's not going away. This just adds to that. And it's financed by Transwestern, great company. It's not going to hit ratepayers anytime soon. But the fact that they're willing to invest and bring this kind of project in, it shows that we have this hot economy with manufacturing, and we need this power.
I want to get back to that, but does this come at the expense of some of those other energies?
I would argue absolutely not. This is a new investment, a private investment. Our utilities have always maintained in all the above approach. You're seeing, again, the fact that Arizona has this balanced energy portfolio where we do have the ability to take from multiple generations. I think natural gas has proven to be cheap and reliable. And right now, if you ask my members, if you ask a homeowner, they care about affordability and reliability. I'll add one more, availability now, because we're growing so fast. And natural gas answers a lot of those questions.
And I know that, back to what you referred to earlier, you mentioned that this signals to businesses, to other parts of the country, that Arizona is in business.
Absolutely. Sandra Watson, the president and CEO of the Arizona Commerce Authority, and I will be, meeting with a lot of new companies who are looking to expand or grow to Arizona. And the number one question now, Ted, the number one, it used to be labor, it used to be talent, it's now energy. Do we have the power? Is it reliable? What does it cost?
Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting.
It's changed. Okay.
It's changed, yeah.
But we're still talking fossil fuels, and we're still talking greenhouse gas emissions. How do we get around that?
I would say, first of all, it's important to note natural gas burns a lot cleaner than people, I think, remember. The technology has evolved. The gas companies have developed 24/7 pipeline monitoring, so leaks have been significantly reduced, if at all eliminated. They use drone technology now. And the thing, again, if the technology, which we need to continue to invest in when we talk about solar and wind, we have to get our storage capacity, continue to invest in. So that's the way of the future. Gas is the bridge. Natural gas is the bridge until that technology is fully developed. But we have to keep investing in all the above.
And I know the critics will say, yes, it seems like it could be a bridge and it should be a bridge, but are you going to make a bridge? That's an expensive bridge.
I would argue natural gas is a cheap bridge. An expensive bridge would be mandating more and more clean, what they call clean energy, when in reality, nuclear is the cleanest there is. We've been doing well with solar. We have to do better with the storage side of it. People say, well, there's 300 plus sunny days in Arizona. You know what? There's 365 unsunny days at nighttime. So we have to be able to store that energy.
Okay, but again, that technology, that push, that innovation doesn't get hindered by this?
Absolutely not. We cannot lose the race to be the most innovative when it comes to energy generation, production, and storage. And I'll tell you, even in the One Big Beautiful Bill, if you look at the tax treatment coming out of Washington, D.C., a lot of the efficiency programs have actually survived more than some people thought they would. So our battery storage, our home efficiency credits, those are still around.
Okay, what about the volatility of gas prices? I mean, how much is this going to cost consumers? Because again, we got critics out there saying you ain't seen nothing yet as far as the price of this thing.
I'm amused by critics trying to guess at the future what can happen with gas prices, because what we do, what any economist will do, will look at the past. Natural gas has been cheap. Natural gas homes powered by natural gas save on average $1,100 annually more than traditional electric. Businesses that use natural gas save about $500 billion. It's cheap, it's reliable, it's being produced right here in this country, and we can transmit it relatively easy. We're going to be a net exporter of natural gas soon to Europe and elsewhere.
Timetable for this thing?
4 years, up and running. 3 years should be a lot of ribbon cuttings going on, but by 4 years, gas should be delivered, and maybe even a little bit faster with this administration.
Okay, because I got construction starts in 2028. Permits, the permitting process and all, environmental stuff, needs to be taken care of?
It's all being worked out right now. I know for a fact President Trump's administration is excited about this, excited about us generating more energy to power manufacturing and power jobs here in this country. So I imagine there'll be a lot of expediting going on.
Last question before you go, and I know people in your group, your members, they're excited about this, but there are also people that watch the program, they're not, and they hear about greenhouse gas, they think about volatile prices, they think about all that. How do you put them at ease?
Again, I put them at ease with this. Go to the Corporation Commission. Those same people, when they hear what people are scared of right now, it's the cost of energy. It's are they going to have a blackout or a brownout during a hot summer day? We want our ACs to run. We want our businesses to keep running. And natural gas, again, is the cleanest, cheapest, most reliable energy that we can use as a bridge, not counting nuclear, which, by the way, we're still developing, or hydro, or solar, or wind. We're going to do all of the above. We've always done that really well in Arizona. We're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about nuclear here in the coming months.
I'm excited,
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Thanks for the information on this, and take care.
Thanks, Ted. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
On a day with cats.
Yeah.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook pledges to fight back against President Trump's attempt to oust her. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
There's a cafe in Phoenix where you can enjoy your favorite coffee drink and visit with and perhaps even adopt a cat. It's called, oddly enough, the Phoenix Cat Cafe. And joining us now is Carrie Schwartz, CEO of the Phoenix Cat Cafe. Carrie is joined by some friends. Carrie, I'll let you do the introductions.
Yeah, so I have Mr. Cadbury, and that is his stepbrother, Jelly Bean.
All right, Jelly Bean, you're a good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. Little sniffing, little purring. He's okay. The Phoenix Cat Cafe. So how does this work?
So we're a nonprofit cat cafe. We're actually just down the street at 2nd Street in Garfield.
Okay.
People can come in. We have our full-service coffee shop, and then we have our cat adoption lounge where you can just come, hang out, hopefully fall in love. All the cats are adoptable.
So when you walk in and you say, okay, I'll take a latte and a tabby. So how does that, do you introduce the cats to the person? Does the person introduce themselves?
So a little bit of both. They get to meet the cats in a pretty natural environment because the cats are all just free roaming, climbing on shelves, playing, just interacting how they want to. And then as people hopefully love their personalities, we do our application process and just make sure it's a good fit for everybody in the home.
And the cats often, these cats, they adopt you more than you would.
Often
do you have
they
these cats
choose.
run over to people and say, hi, future family member?
Some of them do, especially some of our shy kids. It's really fun to see them kind of pick the person that they trust.
Okay, so these are good cats.
They are. They're
Jelly
all
Bean, you're a good cat. You're doing very well. Where do these cats come from?
So both of these guys actually came from the Phoenix streets. Jelly Bean was found just over at Brett Tarver Learning Center with his mom. So she got trapped and fixed. And then she was a little bit too mean to keep inside, so he continued living inside. And then Cadbury and his 4 other brothers were found at some horse property out in Gilbert with another Trap Neuter Return project.
Okay, so they come from different places, but I understand these are the best of friends.
They are. They love each other. We have so many pictures of them cuddling and playing together and tag and chase, and they are a cute little bonded pair.
Now, do you partner with a shelter at all?
We don't. We are a 501c3 nonprofit rescue ourselves. So all of the cats that you see in the cafe are from our rescue.
Okay, and do you accept like owners who say, I can't keep my cat anymore? Do you do
Sometimes, pretty rarely. Most of our cats do come from Trap Neuter Return projects where we get them off the streets and they're too friendly to be on the streets anymore, or maybe they're in a kind of an unsafe environment, and that's kind of where we really focus. Oftentimes we will get a couple of owner surrenders, but those are usually fewer and far between.
Jelly Bean, I think, saw some of those cats on the big monitor over here and was
He
saying,
saw himself, I think.
I think he did. He says, what's going on over there? Now, you also have things like cat yoga.
We do.
I've heard about cat yoga, but I haven't heard enough about it to understand what in the world is cat yoga?
Oh, the cats love cat yoga. It's their favorite event. Basically, we move all of the furniture in the main cat lounge. People bring their yoga mats, lay down. We do a lot of floor work, not a lot of balancing because we don't want to fall on any of the cats. And then the cats just have free roam to climb on people, climb on the mats. I always tell people don't bring your best mat because they will scratch on it sometimes.
Sure.
And rub all over it.
There's also painting with cats. What is that?
Yeah, so we do paint night with cats. Usually we'll pick different themes depending on like the holiday or the season. That one is a little bit more dangerous because the cats like to walk on the tables and sometimes knock over the paint or stick their head in the water or help you with the painting.
It's modern art.
Yes.
And I understand that you'll host a party with cats.
Yeah, so we do private reservations so people can rent the lounge we get a lot of birthday parties, sometimes bachelorette parties, or just families that just want to hang out with them by themselves.
Now, you were formerly a for-profit, then you went nonprofit. What went on there?
So we've been a nonprofit since 2020. The for-profit was my co-founder had started a for-profit in a different city, and then her and I came together in 2020 and decided that we could help a lot more cats by becoming a nonprofit. So in 2020 we started as a nonprofit, and now we're our own rescue.
Yeah. Now, when you go there for coffee and kitties, can you just have the coffee and just?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say 75% of our visitors just come in to get a cup of coffee and hang out with the cats and don't have any intention of adopting, and that's totally fine too. Lots of socialization.
The pricing involved for all of this. I mean, everything from a latte to a cat. What's involved here?
Yeah, so everything is kind of a la carte. So you can buy coffee, you don't have to. Our coffee prices are pretty competitive with all the other local coffee shops around. And then we do charge a fee to get into the lounge as well. $16 if you book online, or $18 in person, just to help us know our numbers a little bit easier. But yeah, so that really helps to pay for all of the basic care for the cats.
And is there a website to learn more?
Yep, just phxcatcafe.org.
Well, Cadbury looks like he's just absolutely in heaven. Jelly Bean looks like he's going, who's this person? Who's this person holding me, and why is he scratching my head? It must be very rewarding for you, though. This must be a very rewarding operation.
Especially finding the homes for them, and seeing the excitement of the owners and getting the updates a couple months later once everybody's settled into the home and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on this. And again, these two got to go together now.
They do.
They're
a bonded pair.
Two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here. Cadbury, nice to meet you as well. Jelly Bean, thank you for not making my life miserable during the interview. And best of luck.
Thank you.
That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.